Welcome, everybody. Delighted to be with you to discuss the inaugural issue of Review of Disability Studies Pacific Rim Conference Proceedings. I'm Raphael, the editor of Review of Disability Studies. And on behalf of Sandy Shitanishi, our managing editor, and the rest of the editorial team, I want to thank you for joining us for this short screencast. A brief overview of what we'll cover in this session. We'll go over some general logistical information and deadlines and highlight some of our submission guidelines for you. We'll give you a very basic overview of the process of submitting to this inaugural issue of the conference proceedings. We'll also give you a little background on RDS, how it fits with PAC-RIM as part of the Center on Disability Studies, its history, focus, and the sections of the journal. So that's a quick overview of what we'll do in this short screencast. So first, some general information. This special issue that will include the conference proceedings is scheduled for summer 2021. And we want to highlight here our website, rdsjournal.org. We ask that you please make sure you review that before you submit, learn a little bit more about the journal and the peer review process. And we ask that you're careful to be sure that your work's consistent with those submission and author guidelines that you'll find there. So some important dates. The window to start submitting your work will actually open 1 week after the conference. So it opens on March 19th and closes on March 31st. And the submission process that you'll be doing is all through our publishing platform. That's at rdsjournal.org during that window, again, March 9th through March 31st. Now, the first thing that you'll be doing, you'll need to set up an account, and you can be led to do that on the website, rdsjournal.org. And when you submit your work, you'll also be asked to add requested metadata. And I'll take a moment and briefly go over that process with you and show you what that's going to look like. So the first thing, when you get in there, it's going to ask you what section you're submitting it into. And we have a special section that is dedicated only to attendees of PAC-RIM 2021. And it will show up as PAC-RIM 2021 Conference Proceedings. So as you choose where you're submitting your work, just make sure that you have chosen that section so we can be sure to identify you as an attendee of the conference and part of the proceedings. Now, you'll be asked to what kind of document that you're submitting, and you'll choose article text, and then you'll upload your file. Now, importantly, as you're submitting your work, you're going to be asked to enter metadata. And this is crucial for others to be able to find your work. And so we ask that you pay close attention to that and make sure that you do enter in the metadata that's requested. So for example, you'll be asked to be sure to indicate your title and abstract. Also, list of contributors. So any contributors who are involved in your project, be sure to indicate them. And we'll, for the purpose of our correspondences, we'll just be corresponding with whoever you identify as the central contact. So some other metadata that you'll be asked for, you'll also be asked to identify what are the relevant subjects, disciplines, and keywords. You'll also be asked to cut and paste your references. And again, we ask that you make sure you take a moment to do that. These are really crucial so that others can find your work later. And then you'll go ahead and submit your work. And once you have done that, all of our conversation with you about the work will take place inside of the publishing interface. And this will be important, just allow us to keep all of the correspondence with you in one place. Now, during the process, as you're putting your work, submitting your work, or before you submit your work, feel free to reach out at any time to us at rdsj@hawaii.edu, and we'll be happy to support you in the process. So that was a very quick overview just of what you're going to see when you're submitting your work. I want to briefly say a few words about RDS. First of all, we're part of the Center on Disability Studies within the College of Education at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. CDS is an AUCD member focusing on efforts, especially in education, early intervention, employment, community living. Through the efforts of CDS, we're able to help thousands of people with disabilities and their families, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, and other underrepresented groups, providing pathways to empowered lives of full participation and access. Now, along with RDS that you'll see in this image, PAC-RIM, this conference, is another service of CDS. This is the 36th year of PAC-RIM, hosted here at the University of Hawaii at Manoa since 1988. An international conference. This year we have over 16 countries, 15 or 16 countries. And this is the first year that the conference is virtual because, for obvious reasons, because of the pandemic. A few words about the journal. We're just about 18 years old. So in most states, old enough to vote. It's a peer-reviewed open source journal for the last several years, published 4 times a year. And our readership is broadly seen as folks that are interested in disability studies across a range of disciplines. And most importantly, we have a very wide readership and authorship across the globe. And our submissions are both scholarly work as well as creative work and artistic expression that are expressing ideas about disability. And a couple of things, some general guidelines to think about with your work that we'd like to remind you. RDS is committed to accessibility in all domains and contexts. And a key part of that we see is making sure that the work is clear, easily read by an international readership that, as I mentioned, they may be across many, many disciplines. And also that the work is clearly relevant to the concerns of disability studies and, as much as possible, practical, making a practical contribution to our larger understanding of disability. And we also ask that whatever you submit, that you highlight how it contributes to this larger global conversation about disability. And that we're keeping this international and interdisciplinary audience in mind. Now, the specific formal guidelines, by the way, for authors, again, are at rdsjournal.org. But those were just a few things we wanted to highlight. Now, just to mention the sections of the journal, research and essays, occasionally we'll have topical forums. We've had disability in popular culture, for example, or shame and disability. Creative works, these again can take multiple kinds of forms. We've had creative essays, we've had photography and other kinds of visual art, as well as poetry and other forms. And in global perspectives on disability studies, that's part of our commitment to including global voices, as many global voices as we can in the work. And as part of that initiative, our section editors are also now including limited select native language work within the journal as well in each issue. Multimedia review, that can be movie reviews and book reviews. Notes from the field, these may include other events, perhaps including discussions about events like PAC-RIM or other projects. For example, CDS's Oral History Project. And finally, we also include in every issue dissertation abstracts. So if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to us at rdsj@hawaii.edu. That was a very quick overview of the process and a little background on the journal. But again, we're delighted to be hosting this inaugural issue of the PAC-RIM Conference Proceedings. And we encourage you, if you do have any questions again, or you need any support during the process, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to support you. Thank you, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Bye-bye.